Today we're going to touch on a topic known as what time of the day is the best time to train. It's something that's come up before with me, with my own clients. People have often asked me questions like, oh, I heard training in the evening is better for you, or is it okay to train fasted in the morning, or, I tend to train at 10 o'clock at night, is that okay, etc. So it's something we're going to touch on. There are certain beliefs out there about which time of day the day it's better to train at. A lot of people edge toward evening, and we're going to look at some studies as well, just to back up any arguments we have. So, do you train in the mornings or evenings, and if so, which is better? That is what we'll be looking at today, but we're going to go at it from a practical overview, again keeping things practical and totally subjective to you and your lifestyle. So straight away, I'm going to put my stance out there. I think this is a pointless argument, looking for something optimal like this. But all in all, it is an argument we've heard, and it's something we're going to touch on. So personally, I don't think it matters. Just going to get that out there straight away. So people often argue or ask about the best time of day to train. Should I train in the morning, set myself up for the day? Or should I fuel correctly and train in the evening, putting my energy to good use? So people say, if I train in the morning, I'm going to feel good for the day. I'm going to make better decisions as a result. And that's going to bleed into the rest of my day because I feel good from the morning. Other people would say, do you know what? I'm tired in the morning. My sessions aren't as good. I don't feel fueled up. I mean, if I get up and eat, I don't have time to digest until I get to the gym, etc. So I would rather fuel up, eat throughout the day, and I have more energy in the evening, and I can get a good session in, and I'm usually lifting a little bit heavier. And people are often asking which is better for performance or better for your specific goals, but you're asking the wrong questions. You should be asking the right questions. So the first one is always, what can you sustain? And when I say sustain, I obviously mean long term. I don't want you to look at this question or pick your time based off the next few weeks. Obviously, if circumstances change and you need to change your times, that's fine. But I want you to look long term, what can you do? Which do you prefer or enjoy? Do you prefer the mornings, or do you enjoy the social aspect of meeting people there in the evenings? So that has to do with it as well, your own preference. What times do you work, study, or be productive? So again, this is about banking non-negotiables. So I work 40 hours between, let's say, 9 and 5 or 9 and half 4. They're hours I cannot be in the gym. So what are my options? Maybe 5 a.m. to 9 or 5 to 8 in the morning, or 5 to 9 or 5 to 10 in the evening. They're my two windows, unless maybe I have flexible hours at lunch and I can go to the gym then. But you need to pick what's best for you and what you can sustain. So obviously work around non-negotiables such as family responsibilities, work, things like that. Now, there does come a point where you have to prioritize your own health and fitness and your own longevity, and you might need to say, okay, do you know what, my social life is pretty good, I do need to peel back a little bit and give myself some TLC, I suppose. So what times or days are free? Again, that comes into your work and your non-negotiables. Where do you train? So is it close to the house, far from the house? Is it on the commuter line? Does that mean you'll only be training Monday to Friday? Is it in the house, etc.? Is the gym busy at certain times? So in the morning, in the evening, it might be crammed and you might find yourself there for an hour and a half to do 40 minutes of work. Whereas if you go in the morning, you find yourself getting done in 40 minutes and having that time in the evening that's not wasted. There's lots of questions to ask, but again, what can you sustain? If you don't mind waiting that length of time in the evening, or want to change up your plan to work in a busy gym in the evening because you just much prefer working out in the evening, just do it then. Pick something you can sustain long term. So the study we're going to look at is the effects of mornings versus evening combined strength and endurance training on physical performance, muscle hypertrophy, and serum hormone concentrations. And this was published by the University of Jyväskylä alongside other institutes in December of 2016, and that's in Finland. So it took 42 young males split into two groups of 24 weeks. One group trained in the morning, one trained in the evening. They measured them through a 1 rep max leg press and time to exhaustion on a stationary bike or a bike erg. So they were the two metrics they used for strength and endurance. The findings, quite interesting. Everyone's CSA, so cross-sectional area of muscle, increased over 24 weeks. Not enough difference to note. So that's over the 24 weeks. But what they did find is week 13 to 14, the evening group gained more muscle. So it seems that in the short term, the evening group gained more, but as it spread out over the long term, as the morning group adapted to their mornings, they all evened out. So other studies have shown that in the short term, evening groups perform greater, get better results, which can be down to many factors. And some people attribute it to the rise in core temperature throughout the day. So as the day goes on, your core temperature gets a bit warmer or rises, and therefore you are more productive in the evening time with exercise. Other people contribute it to fuel, contribute it to mind frame, as in if you're going in the morning, you think, God, I have a full day of work after me, be it labouring, be it office work, be it whatever it is, that's in your head. Whereas in the evening, a lot of people's heads are a bit clearer. So again, it could be a multitude of factors, but that's what it finds in the short term. People who train in the evening tend to get faster results or quicker results or better results in the short term. Again, going back to the question, what can you sustain long term? So, a study in 2013 by Ludmila Jankovica, if I've butchered that, I probably have, in chronobiology from theory to sports practice, showed training in the AM could mean a 5 to 10% decrease in strength to those who train in the PM. So again, short term, we're seeing these trends. And this is only a short term window. In contrast, eventually, when you get used to the early morning trainings, this deficit will diminish as you adapt. So humans are very adaptable. That's not going to be the case forever. You're going to become super productive in the morning. If that's what you're doing, your body will adapt. It might just take a little bit longer to adapt than the evening training. So what do? I'd say number one, be practical. The most important thing is that you are just training. So don't get bogged down on details, being optimal or making sure everything is perfect. Just train. Number two, pick something you can sustain. Long-term sustainability. And the last thing is, a study cannot tell you what is the best time of day to train without considering your lifestyle. So it's very important that, again, I'm always saying take these studies with a pinch of salt. Just because it seems optimal among 42 males doesn't mean it's optimal for you, especially in the long run, as we've seen. So don't get bogged down on what's best. Pick what's best for you and keep the long term in mind. And that is as simple as it gets today. Being practical. Don't fall for any of these studies that say certain times are better for you than others. Take your own lifestyle into account and take control of your own lifestyle then.